On Thursday last week, in the morning, I received a text message from an unknown number. It also went to the Speaker of Parliament and to a member of the media. And can I acknowledge that the media outlet concerned has behaved incredibly responsibly subsequent to that text being received. The text made clear to me that it was from the leaker. The text stated that the leaker was in the National Caucus. It also made quite clear that this person had a prolonged, serious mental illness and serious issues in relation to that. And their very clear view in the text message that there would be significant harm to them if the investigation by Speaker Mallard proceeded. It was, I suppose, ultimately an incredibly dark, concerning text message. I was very worried by the text. I talked with senior colleagues. I messaged the person back and made clear my concern, and that my utmost concern was for the well-being of this person. Later that day, we received significant expert mental health advice on how to proceed with this very concerning matter. And on Friday, I informed the police with my clear concern being the mental health and the well-being of this individual. On Sunday evening, the police contacted me. They made it clear that they knew and had worked out the identity of the person concerned. They made clear to me that the person was getting the help that they need, that there were well-being issues and they were getting that help. They, in response to my questions about safety of the person, took the view that they weren't, and there wasn't a safety issue, and that they weren't at a high level of unpredictability. I asked specifically in relation to Speaker Mallard's investigation what the position would be there if it proceeded, and at no time did police tell me that the investigation should not proceed. They made clear, in fact, that they were working on the assumption it would, and if that was so, they would inform the person in question about that to ensure they had any specific help and assistance and support that they would require. The police, and I did ask, would not tell me the identity of the person. They gave me nothing that from which I could deduce really who the person was. Their view was that unless there were specific overriding factors such as safety, they were not going to disclose that in the interests of privacy. There's been some comment about, potentially this person identifying that they, specifics about them being in the National Party caucus. There is a range of credible scenarios that really mean I cannot say whether they were or they weren't, whether they're a National MP, another MP, someone in parliamentary services, or indeed wider than that. I, as I say, do not know who the person is, and will be obviously waiting to see the investigation unfold. In relation to the investigation by Speaker Mallard, can I be very clear? Ultimately, it is a matter for him. The well-being of this person is my utmost concern. It's of the utmost importance, but I am satisfied on the basis of the expert advice and also my conversations with the police that it can proceed. What's also really important here is the integrity of the parliamentary system. Ultimately, this isn't about actually the National Party, the opposition. It's about everyone having confidence in the integrity of that parliamentary system. So with those remarks, I hope are very clear for you on what has happened. The steps that I have and that National has taken, are very happy to answer your questions.
If you were so worried about the well-being of this person, why don't you just call off this inquiry?
Because I think there's two things that are important here. Clearly the well-being of this person, and I've detailed that, but also the integrity of the parliamentary system. And this is not about me, it's not about the opposition, but it's about everyone having confidence in issues like this, and I think we do need to get to the bottom of that.
Are the police going to hand on the name of this person to the inquirer?
I'm uncertain about that. I think ultimately you would have to ask the police. All I can tell you is what they've said clearly to me, and that's that they would not tell me the identity. They've given me nothing from which I could tell safely, really even the range of persons this was from. Their view was it's a privacy matter unless there are overarching factors, and they don't see them.
Did the police believe that this person was genuine?
They certainly said there were wellbeing issues. And they certainly said that they were getting the help that they needed. And they also made clear that they would have, and I'm sure they have now, because of the investigation by Mike Heron QC, advised the person of that so that all the help and support they need is in place.
If you were sent this text on Thursday last week, that said it was a member of your own caucus, why did you go on the AM show on Monday and say that it was a member of government?
Ultimately, I don't know who this is. I've been really clear about this. I cannot tell from the text. I cannot tell from what the police have told me. I don't think we can safely
to say that it was a member of government.
No, I was making the point around distractions for the government. I cannot, though, say. I think what's really important is the well-being of this person, whether they're an MP, whether they're not, but also actually ultimately that we do find that out, because the integrity of the parliamentary system.
Have you questioned your MPs? Have you questioned each of your MPs?
No, I haven't. I have advised members of Parliament, initially very senior members, but since then the entire caucus, really of the things that I've told you about today, so that they understand that.
Do you see the need for an expensive inquiry if the police already know who it is?
Well, I wouldn't overplay that in terms of expense. I think it is important one way or another we do find out. Actually,
someone who does know.
Those ultimately, I understand what you're saying, those ultimately are questions for the police. I've asked, they won't tell me. I'm concerned about the well-being of this person. That's why we haven't made the text public today, or before today, but we are where we are. The advice I've got specifically, as I say, is that we can proceed with the investigation, but ultimately what do we want? We want to secure the well-being of the person, but also find out who they are so they can get the help. And we're not cold-hearted people. We want to help in National, but also ultimately we can understand what's gone on here so we all have confidence in Parliament's systems.
How many people did you tell about the text?
You can't just shut this down now. If the police know, they could just hand that information to Michael Heron and it could all just end. Now.
I think the police acknowledged, in a sense, the non-intuitive nature of this and the way they were dealing with it. But, their position is there's a Privacy Act, there are privacy issues. They make decisions like this every day of the week, and their view was there weren't overarching reasons on which they could tell, certainly me in any event.
Do you feel somewhat under siege?
No.
Two potential leaks out of your caucus. What does this say about your leadership, and is it under threat?
No. Look, I feel very confident about the strong support, the messages of support I have had from my caucus. But ultimately, this isn't about the National Party. It's about something more than that. It's about the well-being of someone, whilst we can't say exactly, who certainly does have mental health issues, and we just do need to, help them with that. The police are doing that. I would like to, and the National Party caucus would like to, as well. And also, it's about the integrity of the overall system is when you get to the bottom.
Can you rule out that this person is not a member of
about
your
how
caucus?
you dealt with this?
No,
Any of your MPs, and are you confident of that?
I certainly haven't heard anything that would suggest that. I think, we have taken, and I have taken real leadership on this, the steps that needed to be taken right from the start. Concern for this person and their well-being, getting mental health advice, going to the police within 24 hours so that they could make sure that this person was safe and that they were getting the support that they need.
With respect, Mr.
What do you
Bridges.
say to your caucus if they are worried that the inquiry is still going ahead, given the concerns have been raised, taking into account the measures that you've taken, that it's still out there in the hospital?
I've talked with my caucus collectively. No one has expressed that view. In fact, I think they very much take my view. It's certainly all the messages I've received both in our teleconference and personally, that we need to ensure that this person, whoever they are, is well. But we do also need to get to the bottom of it. It is important, actually, for the wider confidence of this place we're standing in right now, Parliament, its integrity, its systems.
You've seen the text and you've seen the material behind it. This person obviously had inside information. Does it concern you that it is a politician?
It's very difficult, ultimately, to say. There are certain, in quotes, facts there. I wouldn't say they are necessarily entirely accurate. There are a range of credible scenarios where it could well have been someone who wasn't a Member of Parliament or even in the National Party system, if you like. I simply cannot safely say whether it's a Member of Parliament, whether it's a staffer, whether it's someone in the wider system, or even wider than that.
Had to be somebody in the know, though, because they had your telephone number and they also had the telephone number of the Speaker.
Well, that's true, as much as they had the phone numbers of myself, the Speaker, and a member of the media.
With respect, Mr. Bridges, you're calling for a witch hunt by a person with mental.
Have you talked to Mr. Mallard, including yesterday, about whether the inquiry should go ahead?
My only conversations with Speaker Mallard have been on the Thursday morning through after the text was received to discuss, that's right, Thursday week, to discuss the particular issues around the well-being of this person. Since then, others, the Deputy Leader, for example, have talked with him through these. I mean, my sense is...
What you said, should we go ahead? And what has that discussion from anyone in National had with the Speaker in the last week?
Look, at a level, I think the view is he believes it's important too, and as I say, we do too. I think we've got to ensure and safeguard the well-being of this person, but we also have to make sure that we safeguard the integrity of our parliamentary system.
You're calling for a witch hunt of a person who has mental health issues. How is that looking up for their well-being?
I just don't accept that. I'm not a cold-hearted person. I have real concern for this person's well-being. I've shown that in my actions. I've reached out to them personally, and if they don't want to do it through me, they want to do it with someone else to make themselves known so we can ensure they get the wraparound support they need, I want to do that. But ultimately, we don't know what we're dealing with here, whether it is frankly, a more cynical manipulation of the system. The approach I'm taking is to safeguard that person's well-being. That's really important, but also to make sure we do get to the bottom of this.
Are you saying that you don't believe them that they get mental health issues?
I'm saying to you, I've received a text that there are well-being issues in relation to that. But I can't, for example, know, until there is an investigation, actually what's so important, whether this is someone who's an MP or someone wider.
Do you have concern that this could be manipulation of the system?
Well, ultimately, I don't know. The police have said their wellbeing issues, that's for sure. They're saying they're not at a level that is unsafe or entirely unpredictable. I want to make sure that person gets the help. But we do also have to make sure we get to the bottom of the integrity of this system And that does mean, entertaining the various possibilities here.
How did this person identify that they were a caucus member in their text?
I'm sorry?
How did this person identify that they were a caucus member in their text?
I'm not prepared to go through that. I'm not going to release the text. I've considered that. I just don't think that's appropriate at this time. I think ultimately we have got a situation where clear serious mental illness has been raised, harm to this person has been raised. It's right to have the investigation, but I think other things that I would do that would ratchet this up out of concern for this person are not what I should be doing.
Would you expect the name of this person to be released with the report?
Well, ultimately, if that's where it can get to, determining who the person is, so we can determine responsibility, what it means for our overall confidence as all members of Parliament, Green Party, New Zealand First, Labour, National, then that's one approach. I think that will be something that obviously Mike Heron QC will work his way through, whether he says, I know who the person is, but I'm not saying because they're getting the help that they need, or whether he ultimately says the name of the person, or whether indeed they do find them or not. I hope they do.
Do you need to know as a leader and as a party in order to have confidence in your caucus?
I don't think in truth it's all about us. Me personally, the National Party, even the opposition. It's about the overall building we're in at Parliament here and the confidence in the integrity of this set of systems. I do think it's important to get to the bottom of it so that we can clear all of these things that you're asking about up once and for all, while also safeguarding the well-being.
What do you make new statement that it was
for
linked?
you to still say that you have doubt that it's a National MP, given the information in that text? That was an attempt by that person to show you that they were a member of the caucus.
I'm saying to you really clearly, I do not know who this person is. I cannot say.
Can you credibly say now that it's not a member of your caucus?
I can say that I don't know. And I don't think I can safely say whether it's a National MP, whether it's another MP, whether it is someone on the staff of National in a wider sense, whether it is someone in parliamentary services. There are a range of credible scenarios that at the moment I don't have the information to decide. I just can't say there was some information there about our caucus, but the reality is, as I say, there are credible scenarios where all of that could have been obtained by other people.
Do you think the police should give you, as leader of the party, and potentially this is someone within your caucus, someone who does need help, do you think you should be told by the police who it is?
I can understand their reasons for not doing so. They have to follow the law and their processes and procedures. I'm not asking them to do something for me as leader of the opposition that they wouldn't do in another case that they deal with.
So sorry, do you still think that this person should be named?
From last week being really clear that it wasn't a member of your caucus to now saying you don't know.
Well, the truth is, as I stand here, I cannot think of a person who it would be. I've had messages of support. I've talked with my caucus collectively, and if not all, most individually. I feel strong support. I feel confident in our unity and so on. But what is true is I have a text that says what it says. I can't actually deduce safely just exactly who it is, but whether it's a National MP, whether it's another MP, whether it's a staffer on our side, whether it's someone in the wider system, I hope we can find out.
So how many people did you tell about the text?
To tell you that person's not in any danger? Because I don't, as I understand, the police aren't mental health experts, so how do you take them at their word that this person doesn't present a danger to themselves? Well,
look, I think that's a valid question, but ultimately, police are dealing with incredibly complex, dark situations every day of the week. They, albeit not as, in your sense of the word, experts, do have a lot of knowledge of these things. I've sought mental health expert advice. I've also talked to the police. That gives me a confidence in the investigation proceeding, because I think we're trying to do two things here: safeguard this person's well-being, but also get to the bottom
so
line.
So it's the advice of the police on which you have decided to pursue the inquiry?
Well, I obviously, before this text, wanted the investigation to get to the bottom of it. The text has been received. My sole purpose over that next period was the well-being of this person. But as a result of what they have said to me, the police and others, I feel a confidence that can proceed, albeit ultimately it is the Speaker Mallard's investigation.
Are you ready to
Let's just take a couple more.
Why have you questioned your MPs, Mr. Bridges, to ask them individually if they were the leaker of the information in the first place before you asked them?
Well, ultimately what will happen now is there'll be a process whereby members of Parliament have to give consent to their systems being checked. Because I think in the event that it was a Member of Parliament, they're not going to say that. I don't think it's an exercise with any real purpose doing that.
You don't trust your MPs to tell you if they were the leaker?
I trust my MPs, but if there is one individual here with mental health issues that are ongoing, that are serious, as they've made clear in a text, they've also made clear, they're not going to communicate again on these things or out themselves, if you like. And so, I think that's the position.
Two more. Are there any inference in the text that the person did not want the inquiry to continue?
Absolutely.
And
That's
so,
the very clear threat in the text, that they do not want it to happen and that they are a very serious person.
So are you risking further their mental health by continuing with the inquiry?
I'll try to do two things here that are both really important. Safeguard the well-being of this person. That is crucial, and it's something I have taken many steps to ensure. But it's also important that we have a confidence as Member of Parliament in our overall system here. And I don't think we should lose sight of that. That's really important too. Last question.
Are you concerned that potentially a member of your caucus has leaked the existence of that text when there is such serious mental health issues here?
Well, I made very clear I cannot safely say who it is, but am I concerned? Yeah, I am concerned. And I've shown that through my actions and my leadership on this issue.
The subsequent leak of the text message?
Yeah, well, that's my answer I've just given. Hey, thank you very much.
How many people did you tell about it?